Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wall of Friends podcast, where we talk to our friends, ask them what inspires them, what scares them, and more. With you, your two hosts, George
and William.
And on today's podcast, we have our good friend,
Grace,
Guzman, right?
Yes.
How are you? Have you been?
Guzman, Jorge.
Yeah, Guzman.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, bro. We've been talking about not whitewashing our names in
Yeah.
Spanish,
I
bro.
know.
What are you doing?
My bad, Guzman.
It's okay. I have a semi-white name, so it's okay. I'm good. How have you guys been doing?
I've been good. Just busy day, working, staying busy. I feel like I don't. This week has been like weird because I feel like the days have been long, but the week has gone by so fast because it's already Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could vouch for that because this like last weekend, it felt like it was eternity because I was at work like the whole weekend, and now it's already Thursday and it's gonna be the next weekend. So like, it went by fast.
Yeah.
It seems like it just goes by faster and faster each week. I don't
Honestly,
know.
it does. Like,
Yeah,
Right?
that
feel
is weird. Yeah, we're already like in August, basically.
know.
By the time this episode is gonna be out, it's gonna be August.
Yeah.
And what? 4 more months and a new year?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't believe it.
2022?
Yeah. It's like the older we get, also the time just flies.
I know.
by.
I know. Like I wish I was a kid and just played soccer all
Yeah.
day. Didn't
I
have
mean,
to
I'm
pay
gonna be
bills.
21 in like 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Wait, so like when did I meet you guys? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's a while.
It's yeah.
15? When Daisy turned 15, I think is when.
Probably yeah.
When did
Even
our
before that, I
when
think.
did our dads meet?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like like probably 2000 like.
That's a good
Hey.
question. I've never thought about that because like my dad, he's gone to church always, but I don't know exactly when he started going to your church, like to like
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
church,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's I'm curious now. Like I want to hear their story and where their relationship started.
All
Honestly,
right.
me too, because they have a really good relationship.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
I love like our parents' relationship.
Yeah.
It's like wholesome,
Yeah.
and I like the interaction that we have
Yeah.
in like whenever we're together
Yeah.
with all of our family. We're like always laughing.
Yeah.
Like there's never a dull moment. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna drop the intro music. Oh, how's this past year been?
Crazy is probably just the word to sum it up. I mean, you guys know, but I took over the role as a primary caregiver for my dad. He was a liver transplant recipient right now in April. So I think dealing with his illnesses, which he has various, during the pandemic, it was just a very crazy year altogether.
Yeah, for sure. I think like you're probably one of like the bravest person and most selfless person that
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank
that
you.
that we can like
no,
that we can
I think anyone would do it.
like it's funny you say that, but like I've heard like similar situations where like not anyone would do it if like you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely physically and mentally hard to watch your parent not be the strong and brave person that you grew up to be with, you know?
I may be wrong, but you did take like a semester off.
I took an entire year
Yeah,
off.
a year to
Yeah.
take care of your dad,
Yeah.
which you was almost done, right, with school? Or-
I finished. I graduated school,
Okay.
and so I think like I always wanted to take a gap year before applying to higher education, and things just happened the way where like I was kind of forced in a way to take a year off. But I'm thankful and grateful that I had the opportunity to take the year off and take care of my dad.
Sorry, I feel like I jumped the gun here asking you how this past year was. How about you just tell us a little bit about like about yourself and like how you are where you're at now and like where it all started and how just kind of like a little bit of background, your life story, and take it from there, I guess.
Okay. Well, my parents are from Honduras, and
yeah. I think that's why our parents are like such
Yeah.
good friends.
yeah, because they can relate in
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. And they moved here in Miami in like late 80s, had my sister, and then had me. And I grew up in Miami until I was 5, and then we moved here, which is crazy to me. Like that's so different, Miami to Little Rock.
Yeah, how was that transition even as a 5-year-old?
Honestly, the three of us, like my mom, sister, and me, we hated it at first, to be honest,
Yeah.
because it's like
So you still remember Miami?
I do, yeah.
Dude, how can you forget Miami?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we were
exactly.
5 years old.
Yeah, but like it's so different because like we lived in a little like community like 10 minutes away from like Miami. It's called Hialeah. And there it's so funny because it's like we're in the United States, but there they only speak Spanish. Like schools are in Spanish,
Yeah.
grocery
Yeah,
stores are in
Really?
I've heard
Spanish.
about that. Yeah, Miami's like 70%
It's
Hispanics.
like and it's not just like, I feel like here, like the majority of like Hispanics are maybe like Mexicans. Over there, no. Over there, you have like Cubans, Dominicans.
It's mostly Cubans,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
mostly Cubans. Yeah, and the food is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you guys
it-
have to go.
I haven't been. We haven't been to Miami. We want to go to Miami.
Yeah, a guy from work just came from Miami, and he just keeps on talking about like how it's just full of Hispanics,
Yeah,
mostly Cubans, and
for
like
sure.
the food is like amazing.
The food. That's the thing I miss
Like
the
the
most.
food is amazing.
So good. You guys have to go.
Right, like I think I keep referencing back to this time Willie like mentioned, like we haven't been to places that I bet we would fall in love with our food.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't been to places?
No, like we like imagine like the world is so big.
Oh, yeah.
I bet there's still
There's
places
food out there that we haven't
and
tried. I'm
tasted
sure we
that
will
yeah
love.
that would love, you know.
Well, comida cubana is like high on my list, so
Yeah.
you guys have to go and try it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely will for sure.
Yeah.
So Miami, you're in Little Rock, or
Yes, and so we moved to Little Rock, and that I think was just like it's a better place to raise a family. Like over there, the cost of living is so like high that I don't think that my parents would have ever been able to buy a house there. Like houses there are like $1 million. Like,
yeah, it wasn't sustainable.
right. And so we moved here. My dad had a brother here at that time, and then I think it just goes from there. We grew up here. My sister went to Little Rock Central, and then I went to Bryant, and then that's where I'm from. And then I guess I'll talk a little bit about my dad and kind of go from there with how I became a primary caregiver for him. One of the reasons why we also moved to Little Rock is because my dad started drinking, and he did that. I think is just maybe like the life in Miami, it's a party city, and he wasn't much of like a partier per se, but like the culture of drinking is just like it's important there. And like he never really drank in Honduras, but then he started drinking in Miami, and then he got in trouble a bit with the law, and then they just decided to come here because my mom wanted that escape, from that life. And here he had a brother, he had family, maybe more stability. But that didn't fix things. He kept drinking. He had more trouble with the law. And then it got to the point where, I don't know if you guys know this, it might be too personal, but they know that it all comes from the heart. But, there was a time where it was like really the breaking point. Like my mom wanted out, and I don't blame her. Like it's hard, I think, raising two children with someone like that. And you guys know my dad, like he's so friendly, so humble. But alcohol just makes you a completely different person. And when he got the papers, my mom drew up papers to separate, and he was like, no, I'm not going to sign these. And then the breaking point really was my sister. She went through more than I did, for sure. She's 7 years older than me. And she was like, Dad, like, I don't love you. Like, basically along those lines. Like, it was so hard for her. He would come home drunk, multiple times a week. And that's when he got like the wake up call. That's when the flip switched. And he got help, and he started going to AA, and now he's going to
How old were you at that time?
He stopped drinking when I was 9. So, yeah. So, my sister is probably one of the best people. She is the best person I know, because she protected me from all of that. Like, I specifically remember this one time. We used to live at the apartments not too far away from here.
Yeah.
And, they were bickering, and she passed me her headphones, like these kind of, and put them on me so I wouldn't hear it. And she just put on a game, and, those huge computers we used to have, like those box computers. Yeah, and she was just like, play this, and
she's just trying to protect your childhood or like integrity.
Yeah, for sure. And she didn't have that, and I had that, so I will always be grateful for her for that. And she was the reason why my dad finally made that switch to get help.
That's awesome that you have someone that was there for you to protect you, because we have friends in here like like also like they didn't really had anybody, and then like it's good that you were able to have somebody to lean on to be the person you are today.
For sure, yeah.
So what made you not want to go to Central and go to Bryant? If
I think that wasn't up to me. My parents just moved out to Bryant.
yeah,
And it was just, like with the address and the school zoning.
yeah,
That's like the school that I had to go to. And my sister, like, she only had like a year left, I think, by that time. So she just finished at Central.
okay.
How was Bryant? Did you like it or is it
Yeah,
different?
Your Saline County experience?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, like, as a, Latino in a predominantly white place,
Yeah.
I guess a different experience. I mean, sometimes there were times where I always, like, didn't feel like I completely fit in because I took a lot of, like, higher level classes and I was the only Latino there. And I was, like, 95% white.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah, same for us.
I mean, isn't Bryant like more diverse now though?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I have cousins that go there and they tell me, like, there's everything now. But when I was there, like, I mean, I picked up English pretty quickly because here, all you do is speak English, especially back then.
How was that? Did you have an accent? I mean, I'm pretty sure I still have an accent. I think Willie's the one who has the less of an accent than you.
I think I have an accent. I think I do, but
Really? I don't hear it.
I don't know. What do you think, Willie?
Nah, no.
He's like brutally honest.
I'm really honest when
So,
it comes
like,
to accent.
yeah,
There's someone in my mind that I know that has a very thick accent that I'm not gonna say who it is. But yeah, you don't have an accent.
Oh well, I don't know if that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. You passed the William test.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty easy. I just remember this one time in kindergarten that I saw like a cockroach, walk by. And
Yeah.
it was like one of the early days where I was new to Arkansas and I didn't know the word for cockroach in English. So I just kept on saying like, cucaracha, cucaracha, cucaracha.
Yeah.
And I would just point and they're like, what? What's going on? And then they finally got the hang of it. Yeah. But with going back to Bryant, like when I moved there, it was for 6th grade. So it was like starting middle school. They like didn't believe that I knew how to speak English and they wanted me to take like ESL classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like there was a time where I was called out of class. It was like a good semester in too. And they were like, come here. And I was like, okay. And they made me like do this English test. And it was like the most basic things like cat, dog.
You know, I didn't even take that test until like my senior year in high school.
What? Really?
Yeah, because they didn't have ESL in Harmony Grove.
So like
Like,
as a senior, you took it?
I took it as a senior, and like I guess if I failed, then I mean, I don't know what would happen. But
I mean, they made me take ESL whenever it came to Fuller Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
But like at that point, I was in elementary in Michigan for like 2 years, and Willie, more like because Willie, he went to school here his whole life, but I was really blessed with the opportunity of going to a bilingual school in Honduras. So like I had a background in English a little bit, and I just remember I was like, why do I have to go to ESL? I was like, whatever, it's an easy A. I was like, I didn't care.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I didn't know that you went to a bilingual school in Honduras.
Yeah.
yeah, we did it. It was funny because I remember the very first time I went there, they put me like in 1st grade, and this was back then when I didn't know like no English at all. And they made me read English, and I just started bawling my eyes out because I didn't know anything.
That's so sad.
But now I can laugh in their faces.
Yeah, I got you now. I win in the end.
No, okay, so like it's a bittersweet moment for me because since it was a private school and like it was bilingual, like homework was like going to college.
I can imagine.
It was like I was up at 4 a.m. trying to do homework, and I've always been like a super hyperactive kid. Is that how you say it?
Mhm.
Like I would get home and just try to play football all the time.
Yeah.
Like my parents can tell you how hard it was for them just to get me focused, sit down, and concentrated like on an assignment. Like there was we had homeworks every day. We had a quiz or test every week. Like it was nonstop, and I hated it at the time, but now like I get it's kind of the same. I hated it, but now I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if we're being brutally honest, I guess I failed 4th grade over there.
Mhm.
So whenever I came here, I did 5th grade, and we went back to Honduras, and they were like, "Oh no, you failed 4th grade, so you have to do 4th grade again." So they made me redo 4th grade. I remember that day I was so embarrassed. I think that was like it was good because like at that time I was just like goofing off, just just winging it, straight up C average kid. But ever since that happened, I was like, you know what, I think I need to start applying myself, because I don't want to be embarrassed again.
Yeah.
So
So like you came here, did 5th grade, but had to retake 4th grade over there.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just because I failed the class with like a 65.
Oh.
I still
close.
remember that.
To 65.
A 65. I don't know. Here's passing, bro. I was like,
I
Yeah.
know, bro. These passing rate. I know that.
well, actually, in here, like I think there's a law that says no child left behind. So like you have to pass your kids
Oh, trust
regardless.
me, I'm pretty sure I passed. Your teacher made me pass geometry. So.
Oh, math. I get it though. Hate it.
So how's life after Bryant? Or
Well, I got into the Donaghy Scholarship Program here at Euler, and that was a huge blessing, because without it, I don't think I could have afforded to gone to college. So that was great, and it requires you to travel abroad, so I was able to do that, which was pretty fun. And I know you traveled abroad with Daisy too.
yeah, a little bit, but what you share is about your little experience abroad and where'd you go and what you did and how'd you, being a female traveling abroad,
Yeah.
there's so much stereotype about that. And
Yeah.
I feel like some people are like close-minded
Yeah, for sure.
in a way that they're like, oh no, I'm a girl, and like obviously you're not dark complex, I would say. We're
Yeah.
like oh I'm you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
like just how was that?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to go with 3 other like young adult women with me, and so it wasn't too bad. I think my experience would have been totally different had I gone alone. But I went and lived in Valencia, Spain for 2 months, and there I was studying like atmospheric chemistry, which I found out that I did not like, but that's okay.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Sounds
all-
complicated as heck.
Yeah, I don't like. It's a lot of like organic chemistry, which. But from there, we went to like various parts in Spain, like Madrid, Barcelona. We got to tour the Barcelona stadium.
Heck yeah. I
I
still want to go one
yeah.
day.
You're gonna go one day. I know you will. It's awesome.
I mean, it's so sad. I went and still haven't gone to the Real Madrid stadium. I went to the outside, but
Yeah, me too. I didn't go to the Real Madrid stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my sister went to a game, the Barcelona game, and she saw Messi.
well, I went to the one with Messi. I mean, Real Madrid versus Barcelona.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, except I was a Madrid fan. I got cussed at.
Oh no! Wait, did you go like the full attire and
Well-
sat in the Barcelona section?
Well, there was not really any Madrid section, to be honest.
Oh.
So
I mean, you are in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's gonna be any.
And then
Madrid
like I
fan.
had because I knew like coming in like stuff gets heated.
Yeah, for sure.
And I had like I just remember having a jacket and with a black my Real Madrid shirt. It's black. It's not white like their normal colors. But they could tell it was a Madrid shirt. And I can't like repeat it here on camera what they were telling me, but like it was like an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. They take their soccer very seriously up there.
Yeah.
I went during the World Cup, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was fun. Like, we definitely, like, if you're there during the World Cup, like, you can't not go to a bar and, like, celebrate and have fun. So that was really cool.
So you went 2018?
Yes, 2018 is when I went. Yeah. And we went to Ibiza, too, and that was fun. Beautiful. Like, the water's so pretty.
Yeah, that's another place we want to go.
Yeah. It's fun. Definitely have to take big bucks though to get into like the more like highly rated clubs, I guess.
Yeah.
Cause we went to a super cheap one.
Yeah.
Like I'm not about to like. It was super expensive to get into like the
Really?
like high end club.
Like how much?
I don't
Like
remember.
50 euros?
No, it's more than €50.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
No, yeah, it's like in the hundreds euro, and it's like for one night, like, and I wasn't even going with a person that's like a huge partier, because if you're gonna pay that much, I want to party,
Yeah, yeah.
safely,
Party all
but
night.
exactly.
Don't sleep.
Yeah, but for the one that I went, it was like cheap. I don't remember how much I paid. Around probably like €50, which is cheap for them.
Yeah.
But like it's like you party didn't start till like 3 in the morning.
Well,
Kind of
yeah,
thing.
sounds yeah, sounds about right.
Mhm. Yeah, and then I went to let's see, Greece, Italy, France, and Poland.
Which one was your favorite?
Maybe Valencia because it's the city that I most probably would like to live in because it's not too big, but it's also not too small, and it's like less touristy than all the other places I went to.
Yeah, so you would. Yeah, that sounds like a smart
Yeah.
choice. I like Spain too. If I were to live in Europe, I would live in Spain. Just
And easy transition with the language.
I know. Although I got lost 8 hours in the metro station or whatever, going from my airport to my Airbnb, I was so scared. I just remember I was like, "Okay, George, this is what you wanted. Now figure it out."
After your entire flight, though, you like got lost.
Yeah, from like I guess you get your
land,
bags
yeah.
and like you're out, like you're like, I don't know anybody here, and like I didn't have any cellular service or whatever, so I got lost for 8 hours.
That's horrible.
I know. I was irritated. I was mad. I was hungry.
Yeah, and tired.
I was. Thankfully, we landed in the morning, so like I had time to sleep.
Okay.
Like on the way there, but I just remember, okay, if you can do this, you can do anything.
Exactly. That's the mentality to have.
So I was like, you're either gonna give up right now and be a loser, or you're gonna figure it out and get to your Airbnb. I was like, I finally got it. Was like a hostel or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just took a nap and then called my parents because like I finally was able to get Wi-Fi and like my phone was blowing up and I was like a little salty because we didn't think about like the international plan. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make them wait a little bit. So I went up.
Just torture them a little bit more.
Yeah, just went, took a nap, and then just eventually talked to them.
Well, Willie, where would you like to travel?
Where would I? Thailand.
Thailand. Ooh, why?
It's just so pretty, cheap.
That's
and,
true.
I mean, I like Asians, so. But also Bali, it's like around there, right?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's around the same geographical area.
Yeah,
I
Indonesia.
saw like this video about Bali, and this is just pretty. I just want to like travel that part of like the world.
Yeah. And you could do a lot because, like you said, it's
It's very cheap.
Yep.
What about you? What's your next traveling destination?
Maybe Argentina. I want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they eat a lot of like steak with wine. That sounds like the best combo to me.
Right.
What about you? What's next?
I want to go to the World Cup in Qatar next year, so I'm kind of trying to save up some money for that. If not, we had a friend, or I guess two friends from South Africa, who
Oh my gosh.
or that have invited us to go to South Africa. I want to go to South Africa just because there's so much diversity and like
Yeah.
I saw this video about Cape Town, and it seems so pretty.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I don't know, like and I'm sure it was like the same for you, growing up like in Miami with having different people, different cultures and stuff. Like we've grown up with the same mentality of trying to love people for their culture, for their language, and just trying to love them for who they are and just kind of have that curiosity,
Right.
in our mind and stuff. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
You were born here, right?
Yeah, I was born here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Miami.
So what's next? What's your?
Well, I think I'm in the process of applying for medical school. So like, I'm still
Nice.
deciding if it's like for next year or the year after.
Yeah.
And I started a new job at UAMS working with this neurosurgeon. Her name's Dr. Rodriguez.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, it's a really neat job. It's like patient interaction and also research. So it's like a combination of both.
Yeah.
And working with like
What kind of research do you do?
brain tumors.
Okay.
So she's a neurosurgeon, so she'll operate on a patient, and not just her, like the other neurosurgeons too. And if the patient wants, they can send their tumor for research. Studying like various types of cancers or different tumors and any other diseases that could relate to that. And so like I depending on if like I get the tumor, if it's like already cut or if it's like a whole tumor, like I have to cut it and like put it in different solutions. And that I just started, so like that's what I'm doing right now.
No, right, no.
Do you like
Obviously,
it?
yeah. I was like, how do you feel about that when you have that tumor out? It gives
Yeah.
me like little chills. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, so like it's really cool because like I said, I also do patient interaction. So like I see these patients, and then like part of my job is also to go to the surgery and like get blood from them for other research stuff for their clinical and medical like information. So it's like I get to see the entire process, and it's like crazy to me how a tiny little thing can cause a wide variety of like
Yeah.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Because some of these patients, like, they have tumors in their brains that like completely change their personalities.
Really?
Yeah, it's like sometimes patients come and they're like very aggressive, and their family is like they've never been aggressive, but it's just like where the tumor is in the brain, and like it sometimes like it puts pressure on a certain part that makes you more aggressive.
Yeah, it triggers certain part of the brains. Like, yeah, I can see that happening
and
too.
some patients come in and they have seizures, and it's very crazy. And some patients come in and they have vision problems. So it's fascinating because like the tumor's not that big. Like you think of a tumor, you might think like, oh, it's big, but no, it's small, and sometimes it's like really small.
Really?
Have you ever had like a crazy interaction with a patient?
No, not yet. No, I just started, so like I'm a month in, but not yet. Yeah.
So what made you decide to get this job? I know you decided to say you're gonna apply to medical school, but like what? Like, hey, let me apply for this job specific.
Yeah. So during college, I did a summer internship at UAMS, and I did it with Dr. Rodriguez, and someone was in the position that I'm in now, and she left to go to PA school.
So how is it like working with a neurosurgeon?
It's definitely super cool, and she's like, I think, very rare in the medical field. She's like in the 0.001% because she's Afro-Latina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and a neurosurgeon. So that's like incredibly rare. Like it's honestly under like 0.001%.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if she was Latina because you said her last name was Rodriguez.
Yeah, she's Dominican.
Really?
Well, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and so that is super cool to see, especially like the fact that she's a woman and a neurosurgeon. Like that's one of the most difficult I think specialties you can get in the medical field. It's like 7 to 9 years after you finish your residency.
I'm like, I want to throw up.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dr. Rodriguez. Something I would never do. People need people like you.
Yeah, and she's very young too. She's in her like mid to late 30s, which that's also super rare. She finished she's finished college and medical school early. So she's like board certified neurosurgeon now, and I'm very fortunate to have someone like her as like a role model and mentor. Like she guides me, and it's really cool, especially being like Afro-Latina and hearing her story. And she's from Florida too, and we have a lot of like similarities. So yeah, it's very fun to work with her.
So what made you want to get into med school or become a doctor?
Yeah, so at first I didn't. Like I wanted to become like a cinematographer or like a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to like be like a best directors of the Oscars or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And I still like doing that stuff, but I think everything changed once I started taking care of my dad. And like I think I didn't realize how not unhealthy, but like how many different conditions he had, like until I started like growing up and paying more attention to that. Like diabetes, like I don't know when he got it, and like his kidney disease, don't know when that happened. And then I started taking care of him and like going to his doctor's appointments and seeing everything that involved. That kind of like sparked an interest in me, and like taking care of like everything with his medications and seeing his like illnesses progress, and then sometimes get worse, sometimes get better. And then I started volunteering at UAMS 12th Street. I don't know if you guys have heard of that clinic. It's like a free
I think I've seen you posted like Instagram and stuff, but I've never like gone. I think I've seen it.
What is it?
So it's a free health clinic for community members. Like it's predominantly for Spanish speaking, not for Spanish speaking patients, but like that's the majority of our patient population is that
it's catered to Hispanic.
Yes, but like
anyone can come.
Anyone can come. Like you can have insurance. It's mostly for people that don't have insurance because the clinic is free. But you don't have to be just Latino to go to it. And it's student led, so like it's a great opportunity for like students in medical school, pharmacy school, physician assistants, nursing schools. So they take care of the patient. So the patient comes in, and you have a team of like 4 or 5 students, one medical, pharmacy, etc. And they ask the patients like all the questions you normally get asked at a doctor's appointment, and then they go present to like actual like doctors.
Doctors, yeah.
Yeah, and then they work together to come up with a plan for like health plan for the patient for the next time, like what medications they want, if they have like weight loss goals, if they want to run any labs, and then they come back into a patient. So it's completely free, and that's what I love about it.
How'd you end up finding that?
So there was a student in my scholarship program that was like the coordinator of the Spanish interpreters at the clinic, and I reached out to him because the director of the program told me like, hey, if you're interested in medical school, like maybe volunteer here. And then I started getting involved with the Spanish interpreters, and then I got on the student board there at the clinic, and it's been I think 3 years now since I've been volunteering.
Really
there.
nice. Is there any story that sticks out to you the most that has to like really made an impact in your life?
Yeah. There was one. So just kind of as a background, nationwide, like there's a shortage of Latino physicians, especially with like how big the Latino population is growing. Yeah, and so I think there's like 5 to 6% like of all physicians are Latinos, while like I don't know, it's like the Latino population is expected to grow what, like 30% in a few years.
Yeah, like
yeah, and so what I love about the clinic is that it caters. It doesn't matter if you're undocumented, if you do have papers, you know. But there was one story in particular that was kind of like it tugged at your heart. Like this dad brought in his little girl, and she had like rotten teeth. And we started talking about it, and we're like, how can a little girl like this, I think she couldn't have been more than 5 years old if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like how could her teeth be so bad at such an early age? And so like we pulled the dad aside and we started talking to him, and then started realizing that like she was just eating like the cheapest kind of foods, like sweets and stuff. And then we were like, okay, why? And the dad then started like telling us little by little, we had to build some trust there. And it's important because
Oh yeah.
if you don't have trust, like you're not going to get the full story.
Right.
And you can't have that trust if you don't speak the same language, right?
Mm-hmm.
True.
And then we started hearing his story, and he didn't have power at home, so no electricity, can't have a fridge, to stock up on things. And we're like, okay, then like how come? And his wife had just gotten deported, so he was a single dad, barely making any ends meet. He himself was like a low body weight because he didn't have enough food for himself.
Yeah,
And
it
any
was like
food,
in starvation mode, basically.
right?
Yeah.
And any food that he was able to get which was like cheap, like candy and like junk food, he
Yeah.
gave to his daughter. And so that was like one of the most like heart-wrenching stories to me, is like, had this clinic not been here for him, had he not heard about the clinic, I don't know what would have happened to like them. And I think that just is kind of one of those backstories that like medical school is hard, the journey's hard, but it's like it's necessary, and you need more Latino physicians in the entire nation.
Right. And it's just like, kind of like sometimes we take that stuff for granted, and then when we don't have it, we get upset just because we can get our Chick-fil-A of the day or our Starbucks of the day when other people are going through so much harder stuff. And like you said, building trust is so important. Like Willie said this multiple times. You never know what people have gone through or what their backstory is, and like you never know. And like the fact that you guys are there to help them out or just even listen to them, I think that's something important. And thank you for doing that.
No,
Like-
it's my pleasure. And like another cool thing that the clinic does is like we also offer free dental appointments. So like if there's anyone listening that needs help, and it doesn't matter if like you're financially well or not. I mean, if you do have insurance, we do like say maybe go to your like actual like established clinic, just because there are some things we can't offer. But if someone needs, just a checkup or a dental clinic, stop by UMS 12th Street. We also have a food pantry there for anyone that needs it. You don't even have to have an appointment.
That's awesome. So what kind of doctor do you want to be?
Um, Definitely not sure, but
No, right. You're still young, so
yeah.
like I think it's good that you got your feet wet and you're like
Yeah.
experimenting with different, I guess.
Yeah, specialties. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely something with cancer, and I want to work with kids. So like, right now, and for a long time, like I've been saying, I want to be a pediatric oncologist, which is like a doctor for kids that have cancer.
Really, that's awesome. Actually, mi tia Laura, she's not a doctor for kids who have cancer. She's just a doctor for a kid, a pediatric, I guess.
A pediatrician.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's also not our Tia, but we call her Tia for love.
Yeah. She's like, I guess when like in the like Hispanic community,
Yeah.
I guess like you have those really good friends. I guess she's known us since
Since
I
we
was
were babies.
yeah since she was a
Yeah.
baby. So you're like our parents introduced them as like, oh, this is your tia, but she's not
Yeah.
really our tia. But anyways, that's cool.
So like, I know how when your dad got sick, it was like really hard for you. Has there been like another time in your life that you probably felt down or felt sad or worried that something was gonna happen?
Yeah. There has been, especially like going back to his drinking and stuff, because during those times like he didn't have full citizenship, so he was just here like on a work visa,
Right.
and like a green card, and those situations are tricky. Like you can't really get in trouble with any
Yeah.
law, or you'll get that taken away. So I think that like growing up, I always had, like many first generation kids do, or many immigrant kids do, is like always having that fear of having your parent taken away from you.
Yeah.
Because I was once in a situation with him where like he had me while he was drunk and driving, and he was pulled over, and I was in the back seat, and so was my other cousin, and so like that's like on a whole nother level, right?
Right. Yeah, because you got children now.
Yeah, and so like that was, I remember like the story. I spent the night in jail basically that day, like because we were like in Bull Shoals. Do you guys know where that is? It's like
It's here
kind
in,
of by
here
the
in
Buffalo.
Arkansas?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
kind of by the Buffalo
Okay.
River. And he got pulled over, and so like it was just because we were visiting one of my mom's cousins, and it was just like me, my other little cousin, an older cousin, and then my dad. And so it was just us four, and he got pulled over, and so like we spent the night in jail basically on like the lobby floor. And like it's a jail, it's not a place for kids.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
remember being like handed this white, it was just like this white faceless teddy bear. Like it's just like the shape of a teddy bear, but it didn't have any face or anything. It was just kind of like the stuffings put together.
And like
Yeah.
fur and like make
Yeah.
it look like a teddy bear.
Yeah, it's to make it look like a teddy bear, but it's not even fur. It was just like stuffed. I don't know, kind of like a rag doll kind of looking
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And they were just like, here, take a marker. And so like I remember like I got a purple, like one of those Crayola markers, and I would just like draw a smiley face on it, because like that's like the opposite of what I felt. I was really scared, like I didn't know what
Yeah,
was
you
gonna
were
happen. Yeah, and we were 2 hours away also from like my mom, and her having to get there and come get us. And yeah, so that was, besides like everything with the pandemic and him like getting sick through that time, that was, his drinking was another part of the, I guess, trauma.
So what inspires you now that you're a young adult woman who's pursuing her dreams in the medical field? What inspires you, just to become a better person?
I think what inspires me is I think like with with other like first generation kids, is kind of realizing the sacrifices your parents made to get here. Like it's not an easy journey. Like right now we have the opportunity to have like FaceTime and like internet. Those things didn't exist really like 30 years ago. And I can't imagine right now, like it's very hard for me to imagine right now leaving my family behind and like going to another country that I didn't know anybody to raise my family there. Like, especially with like the time ago, like back then, like really you weren't able to like see your family through a screen. And so that to me, like, I can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage.
You didn't have WhatsApp back in the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had to like get those prepaid cards
Right,
or whatever.
yeah.
And still that was hard sometimes to make that call. And like I know for my mom especially, it was hard not being able to go back and see her family. Like, you know, that I couldn't do that. Just like I could not leave my family and then like say I don't know.
Yeah, just like willingly wanting to leave your family behind for a better future. And like you don't know what the future holds.
Exactly.
Like the future can be good, but it can also be bad.
Exactly. And when you think about it, so many things can happen in like so many things can happen in 20 years. So many things can happen in 15, 10 years. Like in 1 year, just think about everything that's happened in the past year.
Right.
Something think could happen in 1 week.
Exactly. In like a few hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you never know like when your last times doing anything really is. And so like that definitely inspires me to keep going. I don't think that I could make that decision. Like if that was presented to me, I don't think I could do it. I mean, now it would be easier because we do have, you know, like FaceTime, Facebook, you know, more accessible to communicate. But like if I were in that situation back then and someone told me like, you know, for a better future for your children, could you do this? I don't think I could. Like, and that's crazy, right? You want the best for, you know, your future
No, but
children.
like yeah, it's like sort of like self-awareness too,
Right.
you know, like everyone has different, I guess, what you call decisions to make. You don't
Yeah.
and that your parents were bold enough that you don't have to worry about
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
And so that's what keeps me going is they made a very tough situation or decision and faced difficult situations here, like being foreigners from another country. That's what inspires me to keep going.
So with that having such a deep-rooted inspiration in you, do you feel like do you owe something to your parents?
I think so. Like, and I don't want to speak to any like first gen or immigrant kids, but I definitely think so. Like, they made such a big sacrifice to get me and my sister to where we are now. And like, I can't even imagine like life in Honduras, you know, in Central America in general.
Yeah,
is
that's
so
tough.
hard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Right?
Mm-mm.
Like,
Right.
like,
Like even if you have a professional job doesn't mean you're doing well for yourself.
exactly. And
Yeah.
like, I think here, you know, our education system's not the best here, but you don't realize that. Like, we take so many things for granted.
Yeah.
Air conditioning, for example.
Woof.
You go over there
That's what I'm saying.
and you like just drenched in sweat because there's no air like that's something that like we don't even think about here. Like,
Right, yeah.
we go into a building and we expect like fresh, cool air hitting us. You
Right,
know?
yeah.
That's so true.
Right. And so like
I mean, I've been guilty of it too. Like,
I do too. Like, you know, your air conditioner breaks for one day and you're like, oh my god, it's so miserable.
I know,
right?
yeah.
But that's people's everyday life there, and they don't have, you know, I have family there like that don't even have plumbing. Like they're still in outhouses that have to go and, you know, with the bucket. Like,
Yeah.
those are things we take for granted.
Right,
here.
yeah, for sure.
And so I definitely, to answer your question, I definitely think that I owe not to just my immediate family, but the like
So like
generations.
your future.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. But is there anything that like that scares you, that holds you back, that, you know, maybe like makes you double think about following your dream, or, you know, is there anything that's stopping you? I guess, yeah, any fear that in you that you're still yet to overcome, and I don't know how you plan to do that, or
Well, I'm still working on it. Like, it's still a work in progress, but definitely like pre-pandemic world, like life, I was very like structured, organized, like with my life and what my goals want, like what I wanted for myself. Like, you know, take a gap year, then you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this and this, like basically ABCD.
yeah,
Right. I didn't like the pandemic changed things for me. Like, I had to adapt and be flexible and kind of deal with uncertainty, like like not knowing what the future, what's next. And that's, I think that's scary, especially for a lot of like young adults, like not really knowing, you finished such a structured life, K through 12. And if you go to college, okay, then that's 4 years that you're certain you know what you're going to do. And then it's kind of like you're thrown into this adult world. And like we're thrown into this world where we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so that changed things to me. So right now it's like I used to be really scared of like my goals being thrown off course, and they have been thrown off course.
Yeah. So like your fear came a reality.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like not awesome, but like I'm excited for you to share how you like adapted to that.
So you think it changed you in a good way or in a bad way?
Definitely in a good way. Like at first, it's hard, not like I definitely did this, and you shouldn't do this because God always has a plan for you. Like things happen for a reason.
Right,
like,
yeah.
As cliche as some people might think it sounds, I definitely am a firm believer in that. Like God has a plan for you.
Yeah.
And it's His plan, not yours.
Right, yeah.
And
It's like His timing, not ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like at first I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, I love my parents. Like they've made, you just heard me say, like, I love the sacrifices and I'm so grateful for the sacrifices that they've done to me. But there were times where I'm like, we're in the middle of this pandemic and there are people like still partying and still doing this and that. And like, I'm in my early 20s. This should be like my prime time. And, I'm doing this. So like, I feel guilty now, even thinking that I thought those were the thoughts that I was having, like at the beginning of everything happening. It's just, now I feel guilty because it's like, these are my parents, like they've done everything for me, like how dare I, like.
No, but I think it's fair for you to have feelings.
Yeah.
And like it's not like it's okay for someone to feel bad, feel sad, feel discouraged because things are not working out their way.
Yeah.
It's a different thing acting on those feelings.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like you said you had that hard situation where you saw people going out and just being reckless and you had to stay at home just because of the situation you were dealt that with. And I think it would have been bad to be like, blaming like, your dad or anybody. At that moment you're just being a human having feelings.
Yeah,
you can't
that's true.
what was it, repress or suppress or what? I don't know. I don't think it's the right word. But like, like try to hide those feelings. Like, they're there, but I think you're mature enough to like, okay, I feel sad and it's okay, but you know what? It's gonna be okay at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Like it's okay not to be okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the breaking point for me really happened where like my dad, sister, and I, like, obviously, like, you still have to make an income, like, during the pandemic. Like, the world just doesn't stop because there's
a pandemic.
Right.
Exactly. So, like, my mom still had to go to work. She's an essential worker, works at a bank. And so it was just me and my sister and dad, like, staying home. Like, we literally didn't go out. Like, the only exception was to go to the grocery store.
Right.
Given because of all my dad's, like, conditions, right?
Right.
Like, he was very and still is very immunocompromised. And so, like, I think my breaking point was when we got the virus, like, after staying at home the entire year, which that's, like, I'm a homebody, so, like, I'm okay being at home.
Yeah.
But, like, I also like to go out, too, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, and, yeah, absolutely, agree.
Yeah, so, like, I also like to do stuff. Maybe I don't like to do stuff, like, every single day, but I need to
every once in a while.
Right, I need to get out of the house. And so, like, it was very, very discouraging to me when we ended up getting the virus.
Yeah.
Like, I was very angry with the world, honestly, because, like, we've done our part. Like, I think it's very hard for people if they don't have someone that they love to sympathize, what other families are going through.
Right.
Like with, people having immunocompromised parents or family members, or like at that point the virus was hitting more like older people.
Right.
So like having, grandparents that are older, that really hit hard to me, is people that, like, obviously the world, like what you just said, the world doesn't stop. But people that were just going out and partying and, like, not taking any single precaution whatsoever, like, the pandemic was and is being politicized. And that's, I don't want to go on a rant here, but that's just how it turned out to be. Like, liberals versus Republicans. And when you get down to it, health isn't liberal or Republican. Health is everyone. It's for every single human being, no matter what race you are, you know, background you come from. Like, health affects us all. And so the fact that it was politicized and people base their decisions on a particular person, like, or a particular party, that was very discouraging to me.
Yeah.
That was like my breaking point. That's when I was like, I have to let go of what's like my structure and like be flexible. And I guess like, not that I I always will respect you no matter your beliefs, but it was hard to like control my anger with the world at that time.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And I think that's something like lately a lot of people have struggled with. I have friends that we share different perspectives, beliefs, but at the end of the day, we're always capable of just sitting down and have a laugh about something else, you know. And I think we live in a world that it's okay to have different opinions, because if everyone thought the same, it'd be so boring.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think also with like the pandemic being a health issue, I see your point too, you know, like we should be humans and try to do what we think it's best and try to do our part, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And just be careful with the way we do things. Yeah.
And that's a big issue for me, is because like sometimes you'll be like, sometimes people won't tell you like if they have a medical condition or not, because it's hard for someone to admit, oh, I have this, like I need to be careful. I know that's something my dad's been dealing with. Like, you know, he loves giving people hugs, you know, and handshakes and all that stuff. Yeah. But like he's had to like, you know, step back from that, because like he has several medical conditions that like right now, for example, like we thought he had COVID again.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I just saw him Sunday.
Yeah,
oh no.
Exactly, right? And like, yeah, like Monday, you know, after church, he woke up and like
he's not going to church anymore.
Yeah, I swear, I was like, Dad, you know, with his Delta surge. But yeah, because he had a liver transplant. So after transplant, like you're taking immunosuppressants for life. So like your immune defenses will always be down for life, and that's because like you're put a new organ in your body, and if you didn't take those medications, your own body would attack that organ, because it's like, that's not from me, that's not my body, that's not my body part. So that's like a for life thing, like, so he will always have a low immune system.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like once you get a transplant,
she's like, please educate this.
No,
please do like
no actually
medical world, like really, it's been like interesting to me lately. I want to learn more, honestly.
You should.
No, like you should educate us who are uneducated, and we're willing to learn, and you know, share with the world too, you know.
Like this past year, I've met like so many people that's gone like the medical field, and like makes me want to learn a little bit more about it, because I'm so like uneducated about it.
Well, you should. Like, there's great podcasts out there that will teach you, and like little video TikTok. Honestly, like TikToks. I used to be so against TikToks, but now I love it, because like there are great resources out there for you to learn. Yeah. And it's like, like, here's your education for the day. For the transplant, for any person going through a transplant process, you will be on immunosuppressants for the rest of your life. Like, that does not change. And so that means like you have to be careful. So right now, like I thought he had COVID again. I made him go get tested and everything. I went with him.
Poor guy.
I know. I know. We've gotten tested like 9 times, and those things are not.
Oh my gosh.
I've only gotten tested once, and one time only. Like
no,
9 times.
Yeah.
My guy's nostrils are probably destroyed.
His more, because like he's been in the hospital so much. Like they test you every time you're.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And so no, but like it just turns out he has a little cold, but that little cold, he's been out the entire week. Like he's been in bed the entire week.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like a tiny little cold.
Yeah.
So I'm like, imagine Dad again getting the virus. Like, you know, you guys know that he was in and out of the hospital all of December. You know, he spent Christmas at the hospital, New Year's at the hospital. It was very tough. And so like I was definitely angry when like we did all we could do to protect him from the virus, but someone came to my mom's job. Either they didn't know they had the virus, or they did know that they had the virus and they didn't care, and then got her sick, and then it was just kind of like the domino effect at her house.
Yeah.
And I had to get tested 3 times because I tested negative the first 2 times, and then the third time I tested positive for it. And that just has to do with the fact that you can be exposed but not get enough virus in your body. Like sometimes it takes time to build up,
Right.
and that's the reason why. But yeah. So now, like, we've kind of had a few arguments, like, because he's such a social butterfly.
Right.
But now
Yeah.
he has to be careful. He can't be giving
Right.
handshakes. And you guys be my eyes and ears at church.
All right. Yeah.
I need to know.
Oh.
I mean, he always gives me a handshake, but like I'm back in my head, I was like, dude, I don't know if I should do this or not.
Yeah, same.
But,
I was like-
I'm not gonna deny him, you know.
Yeah, but like that's fine with you guys. But like if you see him be giving everybody
No,
yeah,
he's like definitely careful about it. Like
good.
he wears his mask and like tries to like give bumps or whatever.
Good.
And he sits in the back.
And
just
yeah,
to-
so like
to avoid
just
people.
yeah.
God, finally got to. It was a struggle in the beginning. let me
Right.
tell
No.
you.
Yeah. Especially because how he's been. He's such a lovely person. Just you know
Thank
like
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll try to do our best, our part. I don't know if like we're just gonna honestly just keep doing what we're doing. Just say hi to him. Just
Exactly. No.
just
but-
for 2, 3 seconds. Say hi to the family and
No, but if you see him slacking off and giving multiple people hugs, you need to let me know. Don't tell him anything. Just let me know.
well, he's gonna hear this probably.
It's okay. It's for your own good, Dad.
But any last words you want to share with the audience of motivation, encouragement, or yeah?
I don't want to sound rude when I say this, but I think like going to other countries and like seeing how they live, like I don't know if you saw this, like I
So what's the things that you'd like to do for fun that distress you perhaps?
I like baking.
Yeah.
I like gardening. Like I got really into gardening. I like designing, like graphic designing.
Mhm.
And I like put all of that, like I hadn't done that for years, like, and just being able to do that again, I think has alleviated a lot of stress. Just not feeling guilty, taking some time off and like watching a movie or binge watching a few
Yeah.
episodes. Like sometimes, like you have so many responsibilities that you feel guilty taking any time for yourself. But you can't live a life like that. That's not enjoyable.
Right. Well,
Just try to find a little hobby that you like to do, just to
Yeah.
have fun and
like
just-
me time. Me
Yeah.
time is also important because I also know
Exactly.
like if you don't take care of yourself, how are you gonna be able to give the best version of yourself to like your dad, your mom,
Exactly.
your sister, like your boyfriend, like the
Yeah.
people who are around you who
Yeah.
love you. If you can't take care of like your inner self, then how are you gonna be able to take care of other people? Thank you so much for sharing that. It's very important,
You gotta take care of your mental health.
Yeah,
That's a big
I-
thing.
Yes.
Like I think Pogba sort of like tweeted or said this to Simone Biles, saying like people put so much pressure about their your health, like your physical health. Thank
Mhm.
you. That sometimes the athletes neglect the mental health, and that's just as important,
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for taking the time of your day to come here and share this.
No, thank you both. It was really fun, actually.
You had-
I
yeah.
was like nervous coming here, but it was fun, and thank you.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean,
Thank you.
And if someone has been able to relate with you, as in like your dad, your story with your dad, or like sharing the same passion for the medical field, or maybe wanting to reach for some help for the 12th Street Clinic, what's the best way they can reach out to you?
Yes, you can email me G Guzman. It's GUZMAN at ums.edu, and please contact me. Don't hesitate. Like I would love to speak to anyone out there that would like more information about anything.
All right, we're gonna be sure to put it down on the description
Description.
below.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, and you guys, thank you for listening. Hope you guys are enjoying this video form, of
we need better
podcast.
lighting, but it's okay.
Thank you both.
yeah. Follow us on what Instagram, Facebook,
Facebook.
us YouTube. I guess here pretty
Yeah.
soon. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, at Wall Friends Podcast, and thank you guys for listening. See,
Thank you, Grace, again for being here.
Thank
yeah,
you
thank you
both.
so much.
Thank
Catch
you.
you on the next one. See ya.